I know Mickey Goss has got his Red Run Sale, and he's pushing the slogan, which is very, very good. It takes just one good horse to change your life. If you can go out and buy one good horse, and imagine this is not one good horse, this is 100 good horses in one.
Well, you know, you've got to make mention of the Aga Khan, and does he not deserve it? He's had many, many horses.
This isn't Aga Khan, though. This is Juddmonte International.
Juddmonte International?
Yeah, it's the other box.
Oh, Khaled Abdullah.
Khaled Abdullah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm completely off the mark.
No, I agree with
Khaled
you.
Abdullah.
They're both major players, James.
Yeah, but I think that Khaled Abdullah, I'm actually talking about him, deserves every bit of what he gets out of Frank.
He races his horses.
My goodness, he's got a big operation. He's got an operation in America. They are just enormous.
James, imagine him sitting there, and he's had a horse like Dancing Brave come through, he's Zaphonic, he's had all these champions, thinks, well, I've seen the greats. And suddenly, Sir Henry tells him, I've got one that's up there with him. Amazing you can have a Frankel after having those horses. Just shows what he puts into the industry.
Well, the point is that Frankel still is a different league to all those horses. You know, as a racehorse, he's just superior to everything that we've seen for... not quite as long as I can remember, because I believe horses like Secretariat,
he was good in his
Seattle
country.
Slew,
yeah, they were good in their countries,
they were two champions in America. But in England, I don't think that I've seen a horse this good, ever.
The world's best at Tattenham. And you know, a lot of people might not know how he was named. He was named after the late Bobby Frankel, a very, very good trainer in America, who used to train for Juddmonte.
Yeah,
and since his passing, Bob Baffert's now going to be given a few. I think Bill Mott's got a few, but he was named after Bobby Frankel, who I met and knew when I worked over in America.
Yeah.
Very good trainer.
Outstanding trainer, and did outstandingly well for this operation. And John Chandler is the stud manager there in Kentucky. He's got South African connections.
Oh, has he?
You know, it's just
it's
amazing.
Wonderful.
You
so
know,
that's the story of the mighty Frankel, and well done to everyone concerned. And I'm, as I say, honoured to have been able to see this horse in the flesh. And go Frankel! They had the banners. Staying in England for a moment, James. Frankie Dettori has split with Godolphin. It's amicable. They got together. Simon Crisford put out a statement. And what's interesting to note, James, there were two things, I think, that started souring things, because Godolphin now had two major trainers, and Mikel Barcelona got Zaruni's horses, Zaruni's horses, and he stayed with Said bin Sarur. But they say that the problem came about when he accepted the ride on Camelot and the Ark. The writing was on the wall. That's what the article said. The writing was on the wall because they fierce rivals. Fierce rivals.
I think the writing's been on the wall for the last year. I think that Barcelona has put his hand up. He's a young guy. Frankie might now feel that there's other things that he wants to explore instead of rather being tied to Godolphin, which he was basically. And there are other stables, other rides.
Do you know what's happened, James? Since he has split, he shortened from 66-1 to 14-1 to win his fourth title. So it's going to be, if anyone's looking for a good rider now, they've got Frankie. But why is it Godolphin don't use English riders? No, they don't pick them up much. Going through their history, Frankie's been there 18 years, James. He had their first Group 1 winner, Balanchine, was their first classic winner, and he rode it. He's been with them all the way through, and I hope he doesn't align himself with the stable. I hope he stays freelance.
I think that you'll find that he'll go out there and freelance and ride all over the world, which he enjoys doing, enjoys traveling. He's got a young family. He'll look after them. And it would be fantastic to see him here. Unfortunately, we're not getting to see him in the Jockeys International, but we have got some good riders coming out, and that's in about 3-4 weeks' time. 18th,
yeah. So it's wonderful. It would be brilliant to have them all. We've seen the announcement of the two teams, but just in closing, James, let's quickly talk about the Ready to Run. They had the gallops, fantastic.
Fabulous gallops. The food is always out of the top drawer. Cheryl Goss, you know, Hartford's...
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They do a really, really good thing. And apparently, unfortunately, I never stayed, but you had a few choice words to say about that panel, which was the magnificent men in their flying machine.
That's right. Very good. Listen, I don't know if you go anywhere else in the world where you'll find a panel as good as this to come and talk about the yearlings they've just seen or the 2-year-olds they've just seen. And it's a wonderful idea, a wonderful concept. And it's going to be a wonderful sale. It's on Friday, let me get the dates right. It's Friday the 2nd and Sunday the 4th up at Gosforth Park. Get along, you can buy Mickey's got a sprinkling of very, very well-bred horses. When you have a Fastnet Rocket, Taylor the Cat, people were talking really big about Taylor the Cat.
That horse Taylor the Cat's produced another good one. They're pretty good. So, there's all types. There's an authorised, there are a lot of imported horses, and on top of that, if you look at the Ready to Run Cup this year and you look at the top 20, there are not too many imported horses in that lineup.
Yeah.
Most of them are regulars,
Regulars,
locals,
yeah. And what's very nice to see, Mrs. Oppenheimer had a horse galloping there. And well done to all the other vendors who've supported the sale. They've come forward, and Balmoral, and well done to, I might forget a few of you, but it's wonderful. And they've got gallops in Joburg
Yellow
as well.
Star, Ambleway,
Correct. And then
Jane Thomas, Forend. They all produce horses.
They all produce very good horses for the sale. So it's a wonderful sale. See if you can get up there and try and buy another Igugu, another Pierre Jourdan. And James, your chances of winning it this year before we wrap?
Very good, very good. I think that I've got a very live chance. I think this filly she's shown how good she is with the blinkers.
She trotted up,
I think she trotted up, and she beat, the funny thing is she did a faster time than Royal Zulu Guard that day.
Yeah, so we've got to be really... and that's
shows.
your man Hawkins, you and Hawker. Well, Hawkins.
We worked to find one, and ended up falling into place. We're lucky with that, and hopefully it works out for us, but we're confident. We've got Gavel House. I think
Absolutely.
We're going to go and have a look and see what they've got to show.
House is a website that is selling horses every day. It is independent, proven, and reaches places most others can't. For just 500 Rand, you can advertise your horse until sold, where buyers and sellers deal direct and pay no commission. So why wait for an auction when we can do it all for you at gavelhouse.com.
Here we go, Chanticleer. This is, they're selling shares of 10% for 6,000 Rand each by DuPont. I've got two DuPonts, they're very, very decent horses.
Well, yeah, you have got two DuPonts, haven't you?
Yeah,
so 60,000 Rand for a DuPont is not a lot of money. He looks like quite a nice looking horse there, and I think he's the Lunds, isn't he?
That's right. They've started their breeding operation, so well done to the Lunds. But James, I do like the DuPonts, as I say. I've got Turning Tide, everyone would like that in the yard, and Old MacDonald, two very good looking horses.
Okay, let's see the next one. Miss Filly, Desmond Agnes's horse.
That's right,
She's a very nice filly.
Stake
That's
place
very
mare,
game,
She's
very
won 4.
consistent. And
That's right.
You make an offer, you might end up getting her. So, she's sound. She raced through till she was about 5 or 6. She raced against some of the best. She raced in group company. She's quite a good filly.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
We're going to move on, and we're going to move on into the Mike de Kock interview. For those of you that only saw the first half, well, it is in 2 halves, and as a result, we'll have a break when we just do the Magic Millions horses that have won in this country. But Mike de Kock coming up.
The second position by Militant Roses, giving them a bath. That's one of the biggest millions I've ever seen. Graceful Anna with the leader. Graceful Anna. Graceful Anna.
Well, it's always a good day when you're able to get Mike de Kock to come on Winning Ways and do an interview. And there's some real good breaking news. We're up here at the Summerveld Clubhouse, and as you can see, Summerveld, one of the most beautiful places you could ever be on a nice spring day. But Mike's taken time off from his busy schedule to be able to chat to us about some unbelievably good breaking news as far as South African thoroughbreds are concerned and South African racing is concerned. The home that he has had with the Sheikh in Newmarket has now been sold to the South African Connections. And we're going to chat to him all about that, but it's very, very exciting. Mike, Abington Place in Newmarket on Bury Road has been a stable that you've had from the Sheikh, and it's now been sold to the South Africans.
Yeah, James, I think it's wonderful. You know, Mary's really got a vision in racing, and along with Jess, and you know, wants to really get more involved. You know, I think the place was for me fairly underutilized before. We didn't have many horses then. When we did, we had maybe 5 or 6, and you know, in this past year we had nothing there. And you know, I've got a whole structure overseas in terms of staff and a team there. So you know, we were really keen to utilize the place a bit more and to race a bit more internationally. And you know, Johan and I put it to Mary to have a look at the place, to Abington. I mean, apart from anything, I think it's a good property investment, because racing is really always going to be in Newmarket. When we dead and buried, it's going to be there, and it would be one of the top 5 or 6 addresses, I reckon, in Newmarket. So I think when the concept was put to Mary and she thought about it, she jumped at it, and once she saw the place, she really fell in love with it. And you know, it was just basically putting it to Sheikh Mohammed, and you know, seeing what he thought about it. He got a return on his investment, and you know, quite frankly, I think they probably weren't really into it, you know, at all, and it was costing a bit of money to keep going and that type of thing. And you know, they didn't quite see things the way Mary's seen things in terms of utilizing the place. Mary goes to England a lot, you know. She goes there every year, so she's really going to get full value out of the place.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, Mary Slack, but just talk us through the history of Abington Place. The Mollers owned it for the Rags, I think, in the first place.
Jeff Ragg has been in there, I don't know, I think maybe 50, 60 years or something. I mean, it's a very old traditional yard with listed buildings and all that type of thing. So it's I don't know who had it before Ragg, funny enough. I think it's only changed hands once or twice. But certainly one of the real old yards of a lot of history and everything, you know, there. And so look, I know Mary's really excited about it, and I mean, we're all quite excited about it. But the thing is now is to get horses in the place and to race.
How do you plan to do that? Because you've got some plans that just look like they might just work for South Africa.
James, yeah, you know, I mean, thinking about something and, you know, looking for new challenges and what have you, and to keep the mind stimulated. And, you know, I'd like to really do something which I want to call a sort of Team South Africa thing, where we export horses out of South Africa. They go and race abroad, obviously Dubai or wherever, but we base ourselves in England, which is something that I'll oversee. But the most important thing is that the trainers in South Africa stay in contact with the horse. The horses stay in their name, much the same as I did for Sean Terry, where the trainers are still going to get the mileage out of it. They're still going to get the earnings out of it, rather than passing it on to someone else in America or someone else in Australia or in Europe or to me, where I've got the team, I've got the infrastructure, we've got the yard, and you know, we can have a Team South Africa set up where we really encourage South African bred horses. But I mean, any horse exported out of South Africa does represent South Africa, let's face it. And as I said, the trainers stay in touch with it, and we have this Team South Africa thing. There could be 5 trainers there, you know. I mean, we could have Sean Terry, James Goodman, Paul Lafferty, all having horses in that yard, where we just take care of them for the trainers. They, you know, we do whatever they want what they want done with the horse, and offer our input as well, and they race abroad. I mean, I think it's quite exciting, and I think it's nice for local trainers, South African trainers, that they don't actually lose touch with this horse, because you know, it's unfair in a way when a trainer in South Africa finds a horse, makes a horse, and then he's got to hand it over to someone else. Even handing it over to me, you know, it becomes a little impersonal for them. And I mean, I get a great kick out of doing it and working with the other trainers, and we've got the infrastructure over there, and you know, why not utilize it? Plus, I think it'll be great exposure for the South African thoroughbred that we've got this facility, and we've got this opportunity to do it.
It sounds a marvelous concept,
because from Newmarket, the world is your oyster.